And we are live. What's good, Josh Mandel Saint? Welcome. I really want to know podcast. How y'all feeling out there? Hope all is well. I am here. Couldn't make it yesterday. The show on the 22nd is taking a lot of time, guys. A lot of time getting that together. So I'm sorry, didn't make it. I was trying to, and I was trying to try to make up for that show earlier today. Excuse me, earlier today, and I couldn't get that done either. I was able to get something done in the car, just kind of driving around doing a quick deal short, but I couldn't do it. So please forgive me. It is what it is. I stumbled across a local studio. These people are focusing on media, in particular social media. It's a place where here in Tampa where people could kind of go, and it's full service podcasting studio, which is like everything. If you want just a traditional old school podcast was audio only, they also have video, 3 cameras set up. I'm not gonna say a name just yet. I'm still trying to see if I can't work out some sort of affiliate code, but they're here in Tampa. They're on my Instagram. Don't worry. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be pumping them up, um, moving forward. But I took a tour yesterday of their facilities. Very, very nice. It's very cozy. They got a couple different setups, 3 different setups, and then they have different packages. Like if you want traditional, just voice only podcast, which is like how podcasting started. But now, if you say podcast, people always assume that you're gonna have video. They have that as well. They have a producer there on site that can help, run things for you, and they do editing, all for a fair price. I'm definitely gonna be talking to them. I want to put them up here and help promote them. Just trying to work out the details. So I was caught up doing that. We had the show yesterday. I was caught up doing that. And I apologize. I couldn't work it in. I just couldn't find the time, and I had to go get my daughter and all the rest of it. So it is what it is. But yeah, be on the lookout. Those of you in the Tampa area, Central Florida, I found a spot. If you're thinking about kind of dipping your toe in and you want to give a shot at this podcasting thing, like I'm set up in my home, but if there are big enough people that come through Tampa, I will definitely go to this place and block myself out a couple hours and do the show there. Now I gotta talk to him. I'm trying to get another face to face. Maybe I can get it done by Friday. Kind of talk to him. I have some ideas for him. Maybe we can work something out. But yeah, what they're doing is pretty cool. So anyway, man, we're going to talk about the thermodynamics of attraction, and more to the point, we're going to talk about some of the things that the red pill gets right. And so we're going to be Chris Williamson was on a podcast in Miami, so we're going to be using that video. We're going to react to that, and I'm going to throw in my 2 cents. And I'm going to try to do this episode pretty quick, man. Fresh and Fit has Mystery on today. That's an interview I definitely want to see. That's the guy who came up with Game, Mystery, and all that, wrote the book. That's what these red pill guys, old school PUA guys, he's like their leader, or he was their leader, like the dude that they looked up to. Anyway, they're talking to him today. I want to make sure I watch that interview live. So yeah, that's all the early stuff. Let's get into the show. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed, man. I hope you guys are well out there. We got Scam Likely, the Scam Likely show, man. Dusto's in the building. What's good, fam? What's good, fam? Yeah, man. I hope all is well. Hey, guys, go over there and check out Scam Likely, what he has over there, what he's doing. He's kind of jumping into the podcast lane, and I mean, he's been around a while. His whole thing was trolling. Now he's actually doing shows, and he gets to see the challenges of doing them. And these shows, man, I'm telling you, man, this stuff ain't easy. It's to turn on the cameras and do whatever you want to do. That's one thing, but to stay on top of it, to do the shorts, I'm just doing live and I don't really edit. I'm working on editing now, man. Editing is a nightmare, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I can't wait till we get to the point where this platform is making a little bit of money so I can reinvest that money into an editor, because I hate doing it. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I hate doing it. But you got to do it. It's one of those things you got to learn how to do if you're going to mess around in this space. So shout out to you, bro. Yeah, look at it. He was like, Like I like trolling much better, yeah, because it's easier. You know what I mean? It ain't nothing to just go and just talk crazy to jump in somebody's chat. Trolling is easier, man. When you're doing these things, lining up interviews, coming up with topics, trying to keep things fresh. Y'all notice what I'm doing here, like once a week. You notice I'm starting to interview women. I'm trying to get it once a week to where I interview a woman. I'm trying to get women of different backgrounds. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday, the 14th, we have a behavioral scientist, therapist, a behavioral therapist who's going to come and tell us about her world, working with people on the spectrum, working with people with autism and stuff like that. I know nothing about that world, so it's going to be a cool conversation. Plus, she's a cutie. You know what I mean? It's like I really want to, know how much education and when did she decide she wanted to do these sort of things and all the rest of it. So it's going to be a good show. Check that out. Thursday the 14th. I'm also trying to get my friend Marty to jump on and talk about Hollywood. She has a new project coming out. Marty is an excellent director, producer, actress, comedian. She does it all. But right now, she's mostly behind the camera. She's doing a lot of directing, a lot of writing. And she's in the horror genre. Like, that's what she really loves. She's done a bunch of shorts. She even had me in one of her shorts. Actually, I've been in a couple of hers, but one was a proper horror short that she did. I remember we were like just shooting, and I had this part where I wore a suit and I just kind of looked at a dude funny. I was like the supervisor looking at the dude. It was crazy, who was transforming into, no, he didn't transform into, he birthed some sort of creature. It was a cool, I'm gonna have to get that when we get Marty on here. We're gonna have to get that and watch that. So anyway, she has a project that's coming out here real soon. Scheduling is always tough. She's on the West Coast. I'm out here. Plus, she travels a lot. She travels the world. She's always shooting. I can't wait to talk to her. So we're gonna have her hopefully next week, or maybe the week after. No, in 2 weeks. We got behavior therapist next week, and then the week after, hopefully we can get Marty on. It'll be a great conversation. It'll be a great conversation. Brother Pitney is in the building. What's good, fam? It's like you can troll with your hands tied behind your back. Yeah, you sure can, bro. Like trolling is simple. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, we're gonna talk about what the red pill gets right. And we're gonna be watching a podcast of some dudes that aren't necessarily, then let's just keep it 100. These dudes are on the other side of the spectrum. They're not red pill at all. I don't know. I don't watch any of their content. These dudes are, they work out. These are big dudes. I think they're down in Miami. I think they talk about working out, leveling up, religion. I think they talk about all that kind of stuff. More mainstream. I guess you can call them blue pill, whatever you want to call them. But they had Chris Williamson on. And as you know, he interviews everybody. He's interviewed Fresh and Fit. He's interviewed, everybody. This guy's like a beast in the space. He's been around forever. Another dude who works out. He has some really good points. And what I've noticed, especially in my travels and talking to folks, and we talk, hit on some red pill talking points, people get upset when you discuss just how things are. It's like, bro, this is just how it is. I'm not saying it should be this way. I'm not saying it shouldn't be this way. I'm just letting you know how it is. Like, to go out there and say that women prefer men who are taller. Doesn't mean the guy has to be 6 feet, 6'4", 6'5", 6'7", whatever. But, women want dudes who are taller, generally speaking, and not just taller than them, but taller than they are in their heels. So if it's not 6 feet, it's damn close, right? We just had Sister Mel on here talking about that. Like, she's like, yeah, I don't mess with short guys. Mel's a beautiful woman, very cool, very well-rounded. She is just one of the nicest people I've met in a very long time. She keeps it 100. She's nice to everybody. She'll talk to anybody. But if you're a short guy, man, you probably ain't gonna get a chance to holler at her unless your game is on point. And she even admitted that. She was like, yeah, some short dudes, they slip through the cracks. Why? Because they got game. But it's part of that. There's nothing wrong with having these preferences, man. And when you bring up some of these red pill talking points that are pretty much common sense, it makes sense. People just don't like hearing it. I don't know why that is. I really don't know why that is, but people just don't like hearing it. Last good man in Jersey's in the building. What's good, fam? How you feeling? So yeah, we're going to talk about it in the thermodynamics of attraction. I took that from Chris Williamson. That's what he said. And I was like, wow. He was breaking stuff down from almost a pure scientific stance. And man, this is going to be a good conversation we're about to have now. And I think the name of the podcast is The Power Project. Let me see what it is. Mark Bell's Power Project is the name of the podcast. Go check them out. They have 349,000 subscribers, man. They've been doing this for a minute, man. Let me go ahead and like that. And yeah, they had Chris Williamson on, and this is what we're going to be talking about this evening. Brother Pitney, great show on Monday. Mel was cool. Bring her back when you get the chance. Absolutely, man. I'm trying to talk Mel into actually getting into the space, bro. She wants to do it. I've already promised I'll help her do it. So, we might be bringing her back once a month or so, just so she can kind of see if she really wants to mess around in this space, and I just kind of show her how popular she's going to be. She has the perfect demeanor, the perfect persona for this sort of thing, man. And she keeps it 100. So you're definitely going to see more of Sister Mel. We're going to get her back on here. I'm going to see her Friday, as a matter of fact. I'm going to go holler at her. I got some stuff that we are working on, and she's always fun to talk to. I ain't gonna lie to you. I look forward to my early Friday evening when my evening starts. I normally start with her. I go check her out where she is, and then I go off to a couple other places, and then I head home. And it's all just me out there promoting, talking, networking, doing what we're supposed to do. Because this shit is not easy, people. It's not easy at all. So yeah, and her video for our platform is doing really well. A lot of people are checking that out. I haven't even done the shorts yet. I can't wait to break those down. Hopefully I'll be doing it between now and Sunday, just kind of doing different shorts and putting them up there. And Brother Pitney, he's like, I could see her hosting her own show, meeting with Mel. Hey, bro, for real, that's what I've been pitching with her. Like, yo, and I can produce it. I told her, like, look, I already got StreamYard. I can produce it. We could put up our own banners and all our own stuff. Yeah, I told her, bro, the same thing, and she is definitely interested. The format they want to do is a little bit different. What they want to do is a little bit different. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I have some ideas we're gonna work on. Y'all know Uncle Saint's the real. I'm a producer. That's really what's in my blood. Producing, directing, that kind of thing. Scam like I miss Avalon. Yeah, bro. I just saw Izzy. Izzy's the brother who ran Avalon, like the guy who was behind it. He rented out the whole space and everything. I see him a couple times a week now. He stops by on a Tuesday night comedy thing, and he's a real cool brother. He's working on a Saturday, man. And when he finds the venue, when he finds the place that works for him, I'll let you know, bro. I'll let you know. He's working on finding a good spot to do a Saturday, like a social kind of thing, like what he had, probably a smaller version of what he had at Avalon, but not too small. They got a place on Fridays. That place you told me about on Fridays, that's him as well already. The one that you were telling me that's on Armenia, like real close to Hillsborough, that's his joint on Friday, but it's really small. He's trying to find a bigger venue where he can do it Saturday. I'll keep you posted, bro. I'll keep you posted right here. Real cool brother, man. Shout out to him. So, but I'm with you though. I missed that Friday too, man. That was a good spot, man. That is a good spot. It's like, yeah, Hefe is okay, but it's small. It's real small, bro. I didn't even get out the car. It was so small, bro. And you got to get there early, bro. And it's just packed. It's just, I mean, yeah, it's too small for me. So we just got to find a slightly larger venue, and then we'll just make it happen. We got our eyes on a couple. Well, he has his eyes on a few places, and I suggested a place to him that he went and checked out. He's like, that could work. We're trying to facilitate that conversation. If I could bring him to the table with the owners, hopefully we'll be able to do something. And bro, it's nice. It's in a great area. Yeah, only thing that'll be a problem is parking. But only thing that'll be tricky, but dude, it's worth it. It's worth actually parking somewhere else and just Ubering down or whatever is absolutely worth it. I'll keep you posted. So let's get into this, guys. Let's check this out, man. So this is okay. What am I doing wrong here? Here it is. So these brothers are having a conversation. The video was really long, 2 hours and 22 minutes. A lot of this stuff, it did not interest me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just, to me, it's kind of like basic, whatever. They were just hitting regular mainstream kind of talking points. It was what it was. As you guys know, I'm not a big religious guy. You know what I mean? I'm your local neighborhood heathen. I kind of put that over there. But they did begin to discuss becoming more vulnerable. And this is where I wanted to jump into the conversation. They're talking about being vulnerable in front of women, and then they start getting into some red pill stuff. And I just think this would be real good. I thought this would be a real good topic to tackle. So let's get into it, shall we?
And I fundamentally disagree with people that say, if you're vulnerable to those around you, they'll use it against you.
How about opening up to a woman? How do you feel about that? Just because the reason why I ask you that is, red pill ideology, men who are talking about opening up to women on that end of things, they believe that if you do that, well, your woman will see you as weak and she'll leave you.
Never show your vulnerability to a woman is one of the rules. So I think that it's very dependent on the sort of woman that you get with. And I think that if you are hypothetically living in a city, let's say like Miami, where there are lots of supercars and lots of tequila and everybody wears red bottom lubes and everyone's got a $100,000 Rolex or whatever, the kind of values that the women who are around those sorts of men will be looking for will not be conducive to you opening up. Conversely, relationships that are a little bit more balanced with a woman who is sufficiently growth-minded that she doesn't see vulnerability as a weakness, but as a strength, can be perceived in a different way. This is not for me to say that maybe it's even more than 50% of women get turned off by vulnerability, but it's not like 90% of women. There is a huge cohort of women out there who want to be able to support a strong, competent man in times when he is no longer able to be strong and competent. Think about it this way. Why is...
And right there, fellas, when I heard this part, like this, of course, this is just the first, minute or so of this portion of the interview. I'm like, yeah, dude, he's right. He's right. So many people jump on the red pillars. They jump on people like Myron Gaines. They jump on people like Donovan Sharp, Coach Greg Adams. You know what I mean? All the rest of them. And they're like, these guys, they just been hurt. These guys are misogynists. These guys are, fill in the blank. They never sit down and think about it. And a lot of people can't fathom that there are people out there, men and women out there who live this lifestyle. When you talk about the bigger cities, when you talk about the LAs, New Yorks, Miami, the DCs, the Atlantas of the world, Dallas is another one, even San Diego to an extent, San Francisco before the decline, London, Tokyo. Like when you look at some of these bigger cities, Berlin is bad when you hit these urban spots and you hit the big cities, you're going to get a skew towards people who are trying to level up, people who are trying to come up, like the gold diggers or whatever, the hustlers. It's going to skew that way. Now, America is just, it's a huge thing. It's such a big thing in America. Like people don't understand like that Miami lifestyle is crazy. I still stand by it though. There's still some really cool women in Miami. It's just when people talk about the Miami lifestyle, they're talking about South Beach, Brickell, Wynwood, that sort of thing, the yacht parties. They're talking about the penthouse parties. They're talking about the high-end clubs. That's just a small percentage of Miami. They're never talking about Homestead. They're not talking about Kendall. They're not talking about Doral. They're not talking about, going up to Hialeah. They're not talking about Broward, up the Fort Lauderdale area. When people start talking about Miami, they're instantly talking about those places I mentioned earlier. Same thing with Los Angeles. People talk about LA. They're talking about West Hollywood, Santa Monica, right? They're talking about maybe the Malibu area, definitely Venice. That's what they're talking about more than likely. They're not talking about Van Nuys, right? They're not talking about Valencia. Like they're not talking about, Camarillo, Santa Barbara, Ventura. They're not talking about these places. Like even when you look at whatever podcast, those women that come on that podcast, they're not from Santa Barbara. They come driving in all the way from LA, from San Bernardino, right? They coming in from all parts of whatever. And it's the party girl mentality. Even if they live, they might live somewhere like Camarillo, but they party in LA. They party in West Hollywood, right? They're on Sunset. They're on Vine. They're on Hollywood Boulevard. You know what I mean? They're on Santa Monica. They're on La Cienega. They're going to where the spots are. So they are going to be the ones that are more akin to getting over. These are the women you don't want to open up to. You don't want to be vulnerable around these. You don't. It will definitely bite you in the butt. So this is one of the things that he's talking about. I thought that Brother Chris here did a really good job of breaking that down. He had no idea Miami was the way it was until he got there. If you follow him and you watch him on a couple interviews, he's like, okay, I get it now. Now I see why these dudes, especially in Miami, he's like, I see why these dudes are moving the way that they move. And the same can be said about LA, New York, DC, Atlanta, and you know what I mean, all the other mid to big cities, Vegas especially. Vegas. You look at Michael Sartain in Vegas. I mean, it's crazy, right? So this is what they're talking about. And look, Brother Penny's like, yeah, it's closer to 99.99% of women. It's not, bro. I'm here to tell you that. Well, I guess there's two ways to look at it. There are women who are okay with their guy being vulnerable at times. At times. Now, you don't want to be that guy who's crying every day. You don't. I mean, we talked about it with Mel, like, and some other people I've had on here. You don't want to be the guy that's super soft, bro. That is just going to turn her off. And women keep saying, I want you to be more connected to your vulnerable self, be more connected to your female side. That's all cap, man. Don't do that. Don't do that in front of her. Like, if you got some real problems, you need some answers to it, man. Go talk to your circle. Go talk to the people in your circle. You're going to have to rely on yourself as a man. And if a woman is always bailing you out, man, eventually, if your woman is always bailing you out, you know what I mean? I don't know, bro. And you crying about it and this and that. I don't know, bro. She might not hang around. That's again, like he said, it's not the vast majority of women. He says it's you know, certainly maybe a little more than 50%, like he said, but it's not 90%. And brother Penny's like, yeah, man, it's like 99.99%. Now I know some women who are out there and they absolutely take care of their men. They got dudes who are soft and they have their reasons. Like, you have the outliers, bro. You know what I mean? Those are the exceptions. But the rule, you want to be careful, man. And even in those exceptions, these women, they have their reasons why they have this soft guy in the first place. I know women who just came up in the streets and they were just tired of the hyper violence. Like, I don't want a dude in the streets, from the streets, of the streets. I don't want that. There are women out there like, I do not want that. And they will fiercely protect the guy that they have. Like, all right, this is the guy, you know, it's cool. I can help him, you know, when he needs it, I can kind of, you know, give him a little leg up to help him stand on his own 2 feet. You know what I mean? But I don't want a dude who's out here coming home, blood all over his clothes. You know what I mean? Talking about, hey, go bury the gun somewhere. Like, it's women who just tired of that. Like, I don't want nothing to do with nothing from the streets. I get that. But the vast majority of women, you know, they may say, oh, I want him to be vulnerable, whatever, but that's not necessarily what they mean. You know, you have to be very careful when it comes to that sort of thing. Scam Likely is saying vulnerable during rough times is way different than being a what is that? Winosaur? Dude, you crazy. If you're passionate and on a real grind, breakdowns happen. Hell, life happens. That's a fact, bro. And again, it depends on the woman that you have. It depends on the woman that you have. Again, so back to what Brother Chris was saying. If you in a place like Miami, yeah, you're going to have to stand 10 toes down in your frame, in your masculine. You better not ever show weakness if you're getting some girl that you done met on the beach, at a yacht party, at a mansion party, at a penthouse party, you know what I mean? At, you know, name the club, you know what I mean? At Van Dome, you know what I mean? At Fountain Blue somewhere, at Kimono. You want to be very careful. You meet women from Brickell, South Beach, Wynwood. Be real careful with that. But if you find a woman like from Miramar up there in Broward County, you know what I mean, up there in Fort Lauderdale, you know, like in the suburbs somewhere, you know, in Doral or Hialeah, who just has a normal job and she doesn't like going out and she doesn't kick it with people who go out. You might, you know what I mean, you might have found yourself a good one. And then, you know what I mean, and there's a little bit of leeway, kind of like what you're saying. But let's continue with the video.
Is it that the high-powered lawyer CEO guy wants to be tied up and choked and spanked by his missus on a nighttime? The reason is that when you have polarity in a relationship, the push and pull, there's something exciting about that. No one, the wife typically, or else no one would do it for more than 2 times and the relationship would break down, doesn't look at the husband and think that he's less of a man because that's something that he wants. What she sees is an additional level of commitment from him. This isn't me like advocating it. This isn't my secret bag. This isn't me like revealing my sexual preferences.
That's hilarious because when he was saying that, that's exactly what I was thinking. When he first saying this, I'm like, oh, is brother Chris trying to share with us? Is this what you into, homie? You wearing high heels and pull up stockings or something? What's going on? So yeah, I'm glad he put that disclaimer in there.
The reason that it happens, or you could reverse it, like the boss bitch, high powered CEO woman wanting that to be a sub when it comes to the bedroom. The reason for that is because the polarity is exciting and interesting. And I think that the same thing goes for, you know, I mean, fucking Goggins. If David Goggins, widely regarded as one of the hardest men on the planet, can open up about all of the stuff that's happened to him and yet still go out and crush whatever challenge is put in front of him, you go, okay, is he less of a man or more of a man for doing that? But yeah, don't get me wrong. If you open up to the wrong woman, they will not be able to accept. They will see it as some sort of a flaw or a weakness. But, you know, some men don't have that either access to vulnerability, or maybe some of them simply aren't vulnerable. You know, there are absolute, just straight up testosterone fueled mammoths out there who don't stop, who don't have that introspection, who don't have that self-concern. Dude, I've got a group of perfect women for you, and most of them might seem to be in Miami. But I don't know. I think if you are the kind of guy that is going to work incredibly hard and then have periods where you go, fuck, like I really don't know if this is worth it. Like today was hard, today was tough. You need to find a partner that's going to accept that. If you don't have a partner, like the girl that I'm with, if I have a bad day or if I have a concern, she is happy to lean into that and be like beyond supportive. Like she will ask me questions, she will give me prompts, she will be, and I'm pretty sure that it's like, I'm probably as attractive, if not more attractive in those moments than I am when I'm out like crushing it on a podcast.
Pat Project family, how's it going? Hope you're enjoying the episode. And
so that part he said right there is like, it depends. All right, if you have a woman who's built with you, bro, like I don't think she's trying to leave. If you can find a woman who's willing to build with you and grow with you before the millions, if you catch her before you come on like that financially, man, it's I think the likelihood of her leaving you after y'all get to the prize is less likely than if you find a woman after you done made the bread. So if you're gonna open up to a woman, go ahead. If you're gonna try to do it, open up to a woman that's been building with you and she knows you, you know she's there for you, you vetted her, she's vetted you. All right, go ahead, get at a shot if that's what you think. You want to open up to someone, I would definitely, okay, let me try to open up a little bit to her, see how it happens. But I have been around women that you open up to them a little bit, they will use it later against you. I've seen it. Now, it's happened. Maybe I'm just making numbers up, but I mean, it was so rare. I would say it's happened like maybe to me personally, it's happened maybe 3% of the time. Maybe 3 out of 10, maybe not even that many, man. Maybe 2% of the time. And they'll get mad, and it's they're, you know what I mean, they lose control of their emotions a little bit. They'll throw that, remember that time I did this, or remember that time you did that, and da. Right. And generally speaking, it happens when she's trying to defend herself for something stupid that she did. And then she'll throw that back in your face. So and I've made notes. So I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. And I've noticed that the women I'm cool with that are just like my people, my inner circle, they don't do it that way. They might remind you like, hey, be careful dealing with this girl. Remember what happened last time you was dealing with a chick like that. And remember this, I might have that. I've had some of my female friends tell me like, yo, just be careful. Just same way my dudes would do it. But when you're in a relationship, the emotions get high. You got to understand that is a real possibility. And it's like I said, it's probably 2 out of 10, maybe every 2 out of 10 women I've came across actually use that and threw it right back at me. Which again, I tell folks all the time, like, bro, you got to be careful as men. Just, and if she's cool like that, she's cool like that. It is what it is. But if you want to deal with that, you can deal with that. It is what it is. But just understand it's a real thing. A lot of people say, "No, man, that don't happen. You over exaggerate. You just bringing that up and da 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 da." It's like, nah, bro. It's a real thing. So let's get back to the video.
So if you guys know exactly what labs you want to get, you guys can load them all up into your cart, and at checkout, enter promo code Power Project.
My bad. They're still in the commercial. I thought the commercial was over. My bad. Can't wait till we get to that point where we're just like blending in a bunch of commercials, because that's where the bread is at. People like, where the bag at? The bag is in sponsorship, people. The bag is in sponsorships. And that's something that I'm working on. I don't think we have enough people just yet. I think once we get around 5,000 subscribers, we get 5,000 strong supporters, might be able to maneuver ourselves into a sponsorship or two. I'm working on it. But these guys have hundreds of thousands.
Would somebody know if they're with the wrong person? You think?
Oh God, I mean that's
a big one.
Yeah.
What are some red flags that maybe you've experienced or seen? Because I'm sure you get a lot of questions on relationships and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think that you need to have fundamental value alignment. For instance, if you and your partner fundamentally disagree on how to raise children,
or even to have a kid,
or fucking hell, yeah. I mean, that's very, very dangerous. Just other things as well, though, like not to get political, but like your view of the world is actually pretty informed by your politics, right? Like if your partner is super pro-life and you're super pro-choice, if you are incredibly pro-immigration and your partner is anti, if you're very pro-free speech and they're not, if they're pro-gun and you're not, like there's going to be some conflict in there, because it's not just about that one issue, it's about what feeds into that belief, right? This isn't for me to say, oh, you need to have a sortative mating where you only date within your own political party, but you need to have some shit in common, right? You need to have some common interests. You need to be able to go and train together. If you like training, get a partner that you can train with, because then you can actually enjoy the thing that you enjoy with them. Like that's a pretty good idea. In terms of red flags, I think
that part right there is really important. There's a lot of folks out there who just are terrible at mate selection. I'm one of them. You know what I mean? It's easy when you out there just looking to smash, you're just running your rotation, because there's no commitment there per se. There's no feeling of, okay, I'm looking for my significant other, my wife or whatever. You're not looking for that. You're looking to smash. You're looking just to have fun. You're looking to have a dime on your arm, whatever. So that's easy. I could care less about your political leanings or your political affiliations or your religious belief or any of the rest of that stuff if I'm just looking to smash. I'm not going to be around you that much. I'm going to smash. I'm going to leave. I'm not taking a shower there. I don't have any clothes there. You don't have any clothes at my place. This is purely physical. I could care less. We're not going to be having pillow talk over Trump or Biden or, what's going on at the border or the problems in Ukraine and, Gaza. I could care less about that. I could care less, right? That's not why I'm here. That's not why you're here. So people have a hard time choosing the right person for them. I could be with someone who has different political affiliations. We love each other. We respect each other. Like, okay, we'll just have to agree to disagree on that one. You know what I mean? Like I could, if I'm dealing with someone who is a radical Trumper, maybe I won't be able to deal with that person. Like I'm not going to be able to deal with her, because to his point, it's not that you're a radical Trumper. It's the things that feed into that. I was like, all right, I can't. But if you're just a conservative Republican and you vote for Trump because you want Supreme Court picks, for instance, which is why he got a lot of Republican votes last time. Okay, I ain't mad at you. Like that makes sense. But that same person will be like, yeah, man, this dude is a wreck. He's a train wreck, whatever. I can work with that. Like we can, and then the final thing is doing things together that y'all love. That's the key. That's the absolute key. If someone loves you, right, they know everything about you. They're not going to put you in situations that are going to make you uncomfortable or whatever. You'll be surprised how the people that they hang around changes for their significant others. I'm talking about women in particular. Women will stop hanging around certain women because they don't want to jeopardize what they have with their man, especially if they got the guy that they want and they're in a good situation. When you're dealing with women who keep the same friends, even though she's in a committed relationship with a dude and her friends are still out there being 304s in the streets, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's because if that's what they want to do, that's what they do. But that's only going to get you in trouble, because you got a woman whose friends are trying to drag her away from her good situation. And that's what happens to a lot of guys. That's what happens to a lot of girls too. They choose the wrong dude. They choose a dude who's going to stay in the streets, and they just want her to be home, and she's not agreeing to it. He's like, you need to stay in the house and be here, and I'm going to go out here and be a man and do what I do. I'm going to make money. I'm going to hang out. I'm going to do whatever. And he doesn't tell her that he's smashing other chicks or whatever, that's going to be a problem. So people are having a hard time selecting. They're not being realistic when they do make selection. They're not taking these things into consideration. Everything is important. Like, you got to take it all in consideration. But the biggest thing is, what are you willing to give up to be with this person? What are you willing to give up to be with that person? And how are you guys going to build together? That's where it boils down to. You can't make a guy who wants to go out there and smash a bunch of chicks stop doing that. You can't make him do that. If he wants to do it on his own, that's different. Same thing with a woman. If she's out there on the yacht parties, you go through her social media and she's riding around in every kind of exotic car you can think of. She's wearing the most, all the name brand stuff. She doesn't really have a job. How's she getting that money, bro? She's getting that money from dudes. Like, why would you want to be with that woman? She's probably not going to stop. She might pause for a little bit, but eventually you tell her no, then she's going to go get what she wants. So I think it's equal blame to go around to both genders for choosing poorly. Simple as that.
The most important things to get right are, and this is for both guys and girls, is your partner psychologically stable? And what that means is, after any incident that takes them off center in terms of their mood, how quickly do they return to baseline? And you want it to be within 6 to 12 hours at most. You want them to be able to deal with some stress, some disagreement, some argument, or whatever it is, and within a not forever amount of time, get back to baseline. I have some friends for whom them and their partners will have an argument and they're both blocked on every social media and every messaging app for like 2 weeks. And they're like having to email each other or do whatever it is. And you go, dude, I've
dealt with that.
That is not
in my current relationship. Babe, I love you.
So that would be one. Having a growth mindset would be another one. So somebody that is prepared to grow and can believe in change, both for you, for themselves, and in the relationship as well. We were talking in the sauna last night about the Michelangelo effect. So this is an effect whereby people in a relationship begin to form themselves into a more and more optimized, idealized version of what their partner wants. So you could imagine
become more and more attractive.
Correct. Yes. Or open or appropriate for them, right? You, if you are committed, will begin to forge yourself into some sort of amalgamation of who you are truly and who your partner wants you to be. And if your partner is well balanced and has a great perspective in the world, they want you to be a better version of you. They don't want you to be less you. They want you to be more you, and they can direct you in that way. So having the growth mindset is super important. The reason is that if you do encounter challenges, so at the moment my relationship is long distance, like we've been able to get past that because both of us believe that there are solutions that we can work around. Like that's important, right? The final one that I would probably say would be conscientiousness. And that is because all of this, whether it be the growth mindset, whether it be the psychological stability, being conscientious allows you to sort of deploy grind and grit and motivation in an effective manner. And it seems that this bears out in the data as well. Seth Stevens-Davidowitz wrote a great book called Don't Trust Your Gut, and he's a data scientist that applied it to use big data to answer like 12 of life's biggest questions. What's the most attractive way for me to look? Who should I marry? What job should I take if I want to become a millionaire the quickest? How do I become more lucky? How do I raise a child to have good outcomes in life? All the way down. And the interesting shit to do with dating was psychological stability, growth mindset, conscientiousness. You have those big three, pretty much everything else will get sorted out.
Mark, I'm kind of curious about this from you, and it's kind of within this. As far as like you in your relationship, as it's been a long time, you haven't been dating for a minute, but have you?
I went on a date last night
with your wife. You guys been in a relationship for what, more than 2 decades now? Yeah. Have you always been comfortable being vulnerable with Andy, your wife?
That big pause means no. He wasn't comfortable being vulnerable with her in the beginning. Of course not. A lot of the stuff that the red pill people talk about is common knowledge to the guys who are good with women. So the top 20 dudes, most dudes understand this instinctively. The guys who don't understand it are the ones who lead with their wallet. But everyone else gets it. Even the guys who lead with their wallet, they realize after a while, like, man, she can't be trusted. They figure it out after, you know what I mean? It's like playing baseball, bro. You know what I mean? After you spend enough time in the batting cage, bro, you're going to get some hits. It's like after swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. You spend enough time in the batting cages, you're going to be able to get better at that. So You see the guys like, he's like, oh, you're married, and were you always vulnerable? I bet you the answer is no. He might clean it up for the podcast because everyone has a message that they're trying to throw out there. This dude is married, and the black guy appears to be single, and the black guy's probably still messing with women who he's gonna have problems with. Like, how long does it take to get back to normal, get back to zero? Like after you go off on a tangent, the black dude's probably dealing with a big city girl. And a big city girl is any woman who's in the big city. She could grow up in a small town, but she moves to a big city. She's got the big city mentality. If you find her in all the big city stuff, right, all the clubs, all the parties, all that, she's plugged in like that. That's a big city girl. I don't care where she started, but if that's where she is right now, that's the world she's living in. You get with her, and something happens. She doesn't like something you do, and then she goes off and she blocks you and this and that and wants you to come chase her down. Man, I tell dudes, don't do it. Don't do it. She's doing you a favor, man. Let her go. If she can't get back to normal within 12 to 16 hours, like Brother Chris said, man, let her go. What are you doing? Oh, man, it's just how she is. She's passionate. Like, bro, you dealing with a ticking time bomb, bro. You are the guy that comes in here. You the bomb diffuser. You in there trying to figure out which wire to cut, man. Do I cut the blue one? Do I cut the green one? Do I cut the yellow one? Cut the wrong wire, bro. Kaboom. Kaboom. That's what you're dealing with in a society where you can be severely punished by the government if you're in the wrong type of relationship. Well, not the wrong type, but if you're in a relationship with the wrong type of person. So let's listen to what this married dude has to say.
Yeah, I think so.
He lying. Look at that. Look at him.
Yeah, I think there was
after 15 years, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I was like fully exposed like when we met, I didn't have anything. So there was like I didn't have really a lot to be proud of other than like my, I guess, like lifting and stuff like that. So I didn't have a license, I didn't have a bank account, I didn't have a car. I just didn't have anything. So there was like I couldn't even like not be vulnerable. I needed a motherfucking ride, you know what I mean? Like so yeah, I was just the way that I was. There wasn't like I couldn't sugarcoat or hide anything. I didn't have much of my shit together.
All right, so he's saying he was a brokey, but he was working out. He was in a gym, right? He's a shorter dude. Unless he's sitting down, unless he's sitting on a stool, he looks like a shorter dude. And he's saying, well, I had to be vulnerable with her from the very beginning. I had to be upfront because I ain't had nothing. I ain't have a car. I ain't had this. I ain't had that. Did he have game? Did he have game? Is she bad? Was he out there running his rotation? And then she got involved in his life. He started messing around, maybe brought her into the rotation. And then after a little bit of time, figured, you know what? This is she's a real one. She's adding value. She's showing me the way. You know what I mean? She's being extremely, extremely important to me in my life right now. You know what I mean? She's indispensable. I gotta keep her. So he got rid of all the other women. Was he that dude? I don't know. I wonder.
So
that's a powerful foundation to build upon, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've already pre-selected for the sort of woman that's going to be prepared to grow with you. You know, like if you were to think, how much do you have to beat the odds by to go from that guy to this guy?
Right.
You know, every single day beating the odds financially, developmentally, psychologically, spiritually. And that is one of the beautiful things about relationships that last for a long time. And that's one of the things that you don't get if you do have transient transactional relationships that you cycle in and out of every couple of weeks. If you're a guy that's just blowing through girls, you're never going to actually be able to grow with any one girl. You're never going to be able to find someone that can make you better. Now, again, the red pill ideology would be, why the fuck would you want to be friends with a girl? Right? Like they don't basically bring anything to your life. And, you know, there are some things.
Not really that funny.
I'm glad that we got the racism in early, but ahead of the sexism. That's what I really wanted to get that done first.
Here we go.
If you, there are certain things that women are very competent at that men aren't, right? Their psychological insight, their ability to use emotions is way, way, way better than men's. Now, they can't throw for shit. Like, they are really, really bad at throwing. However, I don't need them to throw. I need them to use their emotional insight, right? Like that, they are really, really good at that. Maybe.
And I agree with what he said. You know what I mean? And just real quick to finish with the dude who was saying that he was married. It sounds to me that he found a woman who was willing to make a bet, and she bet on him. Right? It's hard to find these women. If you find one, you find a woman who's going to build with you. You find a woman who sees the potential in you. She's willing to place that bet. Sounds like that woman won. There's a lot of women out there who place these bets on guys and they lose a lot. You know what I mean? But there are women out there who actually win. And it sounds like he got one and actually won. Now, of course, we don't know what's going on with their life. I noticed there's like a Jesus figurine there. And I think they were talking about religion. And I find, especially with a lot of dudes, like they find religion kind of like the same time women find religion is after they done went through a bunch of drama or whatnot. And they're like, oh, God saved me by sending me this person or that person or whatever. And I don't knock that. Cool. That's what happened with you. That's what happened with you. Fine. You know what I mean? That's what's up. Fantastic. But a lot of these people have been out here sinning and doing their thing and going crazy with it. And then one day they wake up because they have some sort of close call with maybe a disease. Maybe someone tried to, delete them. Maybe they got with the wrong person who tried to, set them up or whatever. Men and women go through this. They find religion because they're like at their wits end. They're like, they done fell down this hole. And it's like, God, come save me. And then now they're all about religion after they done had all their fun. So many people out there like that. They, oh, you done had all your fun. Oh, you done did this and that. All right, now you got her. Hey, man, you won the game. I ain't mad. But I think in his case, that dude found a woman who placed a bet and was willing to build and become the best person in his life. She added value and it paid off. That's my take on it.
You can find your boys and stitch them together in a good enough group where they can be a solution for that. But I don't know. I think that there's something beautiful about being able to grow with someone. And again, everything is up for grabs now. The grand narratives that held previous relationships together, everything is up for debate. Should you stick together in a relationship forever, or should you just be this sort of polygynous, super turbo Chad man that, just dominates Miami's nightlife scene? Like pick your route, Western man.
Yeah. When paying attention to your content, we were talking a little bit about this yesterday. A lot of your content is reaching men, young men. And it seems that your content is helping men to become better, but it is not at the expense of women. It is not making all women look a certain way. And I've gone down the red pill rabbit hole just to learn about it. And as we've mentioned, it says women are like this, and this is why you can't trust them. This is why you need to be careful. This is why you need to play the game. Like you mentioned, it's adversarial. So what do you think that men should be focusing on if their goal is to be in a good monogamous relationship? Because one thing I do notice is that a lot of the focus of this red pill ideology is on the lack of good from women, and like the where they're falling short as far as relationships are concerned.
It's very.
I went down the same rabbit hole and I didn't get that. There's a lot of people will go and they will say that they went down the red pill rabbit hole. And what they mean by that is they watched a bunch of Fresh and Fit clips. They watched the whatever podcast and Just Pearly Things and Donovan Sharp and Coach Greg Adams clips. You got to sit down and watch the full content, all of it. And it's thousands and thousands of hours. Like if you're really trying to figure out what message they're trying to send. The red pill says one thing and they say it clearly and they say it all the time. Men and women are better together than they are apart. But you hear people like this brother right here saying, well, they're just trying to make all women look bad. You need to be careful. Stay away from all women. All women are bad. All women, all women, all women. They're not saying that, right? With a few exceptions. What does Myron Gang say? Like all women are gold diggers, just some are better at hiding the shovel. Right? You hear that. That's a shocking headline. What does he mean by that? He's basically saying that women are looking to make the correct choice, man. They want to be with the right dude. And in doing so, that might make you look like a gold digger. Right? No one wants to be the partner of the wife of some brokey. No one. No woman wants to do that, man. We talked about that with Sister Mel. Every woman that comes on this platform, I asked them, hey, if you're the breadwinner, you make, 3 times more than your husband. Are you gonna be cool with that? He's not, he's never gonna earn more than you. Are you gonna be cool with taking care of him for like the next 25 years? All of them say no. They all say no. Like, no, I'm not gonna take care of that dude for 25 years. No. Right? It's just the way it is. It's not a bad thing. I don't think it's bad. It's just the way it is. Are there some women out there who will take care of a dude? Yes, of course. Yeah, there's some out there. Have I bumped into them? Not many. I've heard a couple say that they don't mind making more money than a guy, but then when I ask that question, so could you guys have a relationship for over 20 years? Are you going to be cool with taking care of him? Like we asked Mel. Mel loves to travel, and she travels extensively, yo. She really loves to travel. So it's like, yeah, if you're going to go to Tulum, or you're going to go to Fiji, you're going to go to Bora Bora, you're going to go to, you name the spot, are you cool with having to pay for your man to come with you on every vacation? Because he makes enough money to take care of himself. He can pay for his rent. He can pay for his house or whatever. He can pay for his car. He can pay for food. He's making like $80,000 a year, but he cannot pay to go to London or France or Paris, to London or Paris or Macau or Seoul. And if you want him there, you're gonna have to pay for it. Are you cool with that? And what did she say? She's like, well, I've done it before. No. Are you cool doing that for 20 years? She's like, nah, I ain't doing that. But men are expected to do that. Right? So when I hear this brother saying all this stuff about the red pill, yeah, all right, I get it. I've seen the clips too. Yeah, I get it. But he wasn't down that rabbit hole, or maybe he didn't go far enough down that rabbit hole. And then the conversation about being monogamous. Okay, fine. If you want to be monogamous, be monogamous. If you don't want to be monogamous, tell the woman you're dealing with you're not going to be monogamous. That's a fresh and fit message. Don't lie about it. Tell her this is what I'm doing, and I'm gonna take care of business. And if you cool with it, come on. If you ain't cool with it, come on. I did it. Coming up, I never lied to women. They asked me what time it was in my rotation. I told them, you're in a rotation. Did I lead with that? No, I did not lead with that. If she asked me at whatever point did she ask me that, I would tell her. So if I met her right away and she was like, hey, before I give you this Foxy Brown, you need to tell me I'm going to be the only woman in your life. And then you go ahead and keep that Foxy Brown, baby, because you're not. And this is why you have to be a dude who can say no to a dime when it comes to sex. I'm not going to lie to you, baby, not to get it. It ain't worth it to me. I don't want to deal with the fallout. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. That's me. And when I talk to dudes, to me, I'm like, that's what y'all need to be doing. The pickup artistry and all that kind of stuff, running that game, and dudes there are dudes out there who they believe in that all is fair in love and war. And they'll tell you like, well, women lying to us, so we should be able to lie to them. Okay, I ain't mad at you. If that's what you choose to do, go ahead and do it. I'm not doing that. As far as being monogamous, if I don't want to be monogamous, I'm not going to be. And I'm gonna tell them up front. Now, does DL Saint want to run rotations until they put me in a box? No, I don't want to do that. Whenever I come across a woman not thinking there's something special about this woman, I want to be with this woman, I always get rid of the rotation that I'm running. That's what I used to do historically. I just got rid of them to my detriment, because if it didn't work, and most times it didn't, I tried to make it work with the one girl and it didn't. And I'd be mad because I got to start up a whole nother rotation. But whatever, that was just me. I'm not going to, when I met the one I wanted, like, okay, I'm going to be with her. And even when I did that, the women would still accuse me of cheating. There's no getting around that, whether you cheat or not. And there are guys out there like, she's gonna accuse me of cheating anyway, so I might as well do it. They just coming up with reasons to exercise their options. But like I tell these dudes, bro, tell women the truth. Don't lie to them. The vast majority of guys will lie to women when it comes to this sort of thing. Right? Top 20 guys, they lying all day. The bottom 80 guys, they don't have a lot of women to chase, and they don't have the time or the resources to chase multiple women. They just get one. They try to make her that's the one. So when the red pill says things like most men are monogamous by choice, you know what I mean? Or I'm correction, they're not monogamous by choice. They're monogamous by necessity. They have to be monogamous because they can't get a bunch of women. Whereas the guys at the top, they got to choose to be monogamous, and they may or may not do it. I know I don't want to mess around like that forever. And I don't tell lies. So that's just how I get down. Scam Likely is saying, to be fair, the concept of red pill is awareness. True. However, the red pill environment, which profits, grifts, and fluff, has become blame the winner. Yep. Winosphere. Not all. I'll be fair. You're right. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, man. They're just trying to get their bread. It's a lot of them. Tons and tons of them. You know, I listen to some of them, I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. People come to me, you know, there's a lot of entertainment value in this too. You got to entertain the guys, and you know what I mean? It's there's a game. There are grifters out there. Look at just Pearly Things. She's killing the game. Killing the game. Blows me away. You look at whatever podcast. Killing the game. Like everybody wants to, you know, we got to do a version of Fresh and Fit so we can get to the bag. All right, cool. I ain't mad at them. But a lot of people who go down these rabbit holes, they are not necessarily listening to the message. They're not. They're hearing whatever it is they want to hear. And when I talk to women, we'll talk about this stuff. I'll say one thing, they'll hear something completely different. Like, I never said that. Well, you said, no, I did not say that. You're encouraging men to cheat. I am not encouraging men to cheat. I'm simply saying if they're going to go out here and run a rotation, tell the women that they're doing it. In fact, I am encouraging men to be men, stand on their square, maintain their frame, and be honest, be honorable. Cheating, because people say, oh, he cheated. Like, did he? Did he tell her that he had a rotation and she accepted it? Or did he really lie to her and cheat? You don't know. Is your homegirl going to tell you the truth? Like, well, yeah, I signed on. He said he was going to see other women, but I didn't think he was going to do it for this many years. I'm encouraging men to be men. Be an honorable man. Tell them what you're doing. This is what I'm doing, yo. I'm doing this. Take it or leave it. And if you have enough status, if your status is high enough, you have enough resources, if you're cool enough, she might take it. I never had any problems, right? I maintained a rotation. And when women got tired of it, when they realized, like, damn, he wasn't lying. He's really out here. He really does have a rotation. All right, I don't want to be a part of this. I ain't mad at you, baby. High five. I had no emotional tie. I didn't care. We had fun when we was together, but that was it. I was just having fun. That's what I encourage. Let's continue.
Very easy in the world of dating dynamics to point the finger at women. And the reason for that is that hypergamy, which is this tendency that women have to date up and across, women on average want to date a man who is taller, better educated, and wealthier than they are, right? Or at least as on all of those. Mm-hmm. Men don't have that the same. They'll date what's called a cross and down. Women will date a cross and up. Now, the thing is, it's very easy to point at the preferences of women and say, see, like this, you have no, do you remember Kevin Samuels? Do you remember that guy?
Yes.
Yeah, so Kevin Samuels sadly passed away halfway through last year. And say what you want about him, the guy was a great communicator and he really did have style. He basically made a career out of live streaming with girls and telling them that their perception of mate value was skewed. It's like, what would you want from your partner? They would say, I want him to be 6'1", earn 200 grand a year and do this sort of a thing. You'd go, okay, like, can you cook? Can you clean? What's your dress size? Like, how many guys have you been with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you'd say, look, you're skewed. Your hypergamy is showing, basically. And it's very easy to point that out. No one ever turns the finger around at men within the manosphere space and says, okay, so women's preference is for men that are better resourced, more statusful than they are. Men's preference is for women that are younger than they are. No one ever turns it around and goes, guys, have you ever considered dating older? Well, no, like that's, young, fertile women, like use them and lose them. Like that's the way that you go. You go, okay. So what you're saying is that women need to readjust their biologically predisposed preference for men that have greater status and resources than them. But your biological predisposition for women that are younger and more fertile than you, that's locked in. That shouldn't be.
Now that part right there, I would argue, this is like one, a little pushback for Brother Chris. I would argue that men, the vast majority of men, the bottom 80, the invisible men, yeah, they would love to have a young, fertile woman. They would love to have multiple young, fertile women. They would love to do that, but they can't. As bad as their genes and their DNA is telling them this is what you need. They can't pull it off. So I would argue no one needs to point the finger at the guys and tell them, you need to try to get older. Because the fact of the matter is dudes do go after older women. Dudes do go after women who are, have high body counts or are very experienced in bed. They do go after women who are, obese, who are crass. They do. Guys are like the bottom 80, the invisible men of the world, bro. They out there. They're not climbing a tree to get the best fruit at the top, man. They're taking what fell down the hill, off the tree and down the hill. They're trying to get what they can get. Guys understand that. Now, if you sit down and you ask a dude, what would you like? He's gonna describe an avatar that she's gonna be young and beautiful and fertile and all that. Okay, cool. All right, now that's what you want. Now, what can you get? The best I can get is this 52-year-old girl who's 5'5" and 345 pounds. That's all I could get. And guess what? Are you happy? Yeah, I'm happy. I'm not gonna leave this relationship. She would have to leave that relationship. What goes back to, breakups initiated by women, divorces are initiated by women. It is what it is. So I get what he's saying, but it's like, come on, bro. Men already know. You know what I mean? Like, men get it. They can't get what they want. They can't get what they want. Brother Scam. People hear what they want to hear because they want to feel how they want to feel and do what they want to do. Whiners seek comfort. Winners seek challenge. Facts. Brother Dinosaurs in the building. What's good, fam? It's like, DL, did you ever have a girlfriend try her power, move, and want to use her fingers on you? Try her power moving. You talking about, oh, look at I knew one woman, and it's a friend of mine, actually. And she said that was her test to see if a guy was gay or not. She would do that. She would catch a guy when he's not expecting it, and she would do that, and she would judge. That was her test, and she would judge by the guy's reaction. I guess you fail the test if it doesn't bother you. Like if a girl comes up behind you and she does one of those, up the poop shoot, and you don't go crazy like jumping. If you just take it like it's like you just got tapped on the shoulder or something. I guess that was the test. It shows that you're used to that sort of thing. So yeah, I passed the test, but I haven't met women who just are into that. Sometimes you meet not a girlfriend. Put it to you that way, not a girlfriend. I've met some freaky chicks who be like, hey, let's try this and pull out toys and stuff. Like, nah, I'm cool. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? But and I know most of the women I know, they don't use this. They'll use their tongue. You know what I'm saying? So that's a crazy feeling. So no, the answer to your question, no, I've never had that happen. Only the one time, and that was a test, and I'm proud to say I was able to pass said test. Brother Penny's like, if men start dating and mating with older women, you get a string of geriatric pregnancies, which is what's going on right now, bro. That lead to more issues in our gene pool. If women date men that's 5'10", nothing happens. It's not the same. You get people going, you will get humans getting shorter, maybe humans are getting a little bit shorter, maybe, possibly, I don't know. But you're right, I don't see a huge thing. Women are having babies way later, and that has more to do with them making money and all that kind of stuff, and which they're going to get into. Brother Chris is going to get into that here in a minute. So yeah, Brother D Mac is in the building. What's good, fam? He's like, I'm not feeling what dude is saying. Give him some time. He's going to say some more stuff. Like, he's starting here, but give him a little bit of time. Hear him out. Scam likely. He was like, that finger will get amputated. I'm just not playing those games. I ain't mad at you, bro. Casual German's in the building. What's good, fam? Like, I had some girls try that BS. They nearly got backhanded. Yeah, bro. Like, women are out there doing that, man. And I mean, I guess it's a movement among women. They're talking because, contrary to popular belief, women don't want men who sleep with other men. They don't want that. Now they'll say in public, amongst polite company, oh, it's fine. There's no judging and da. But when you get them one-on-one, it's like, nah, I don't want to be with no dude who's been with dudes. Ew. That's just how it is. Let's continue.
Changed, but theirs should. Like, that's an asymmetry, and it's the exact same fucking conversation. So talking to men and teaching them that women are the enemy is not going to make for a good society, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. And if the only way that you can raise men up, or if your belief is that the only way that you can raise men up is by putting women down, That doesn't sound like a very noble masculine thing to do. Like, how are you going to call yourself a real man by standing on the shoulders of women that you've mistreated? That's not a particularly virtuous approach to life for me. And this is why, if you look at the conversations I have on the show about evolutionary psychology, at least 50% of the researchers are women. Tons and tons and tons of the women in this space are fantastic researchers, and they can give insights around women's mating preferences that men can't have. And for every single person on the internet that says, don't ask a fish about how to fish, fuck off. Like, you are not doing any of the research that these girls are, right? These are highly trained PhD and above that level researchers doing cutting edge evolutionary psychology, anthropology, social sciences research. And they are finding out stuff to do with mating preferences, wrapping that in and folding it into an ancestral lifestyle and coming out with really, really fucking interesting insights. For some red pill bro on the internet to go, oh, don't ask a fish about how to fish, man. Like, dude, you cool. There is a corner of the internet for you, and I'm glad that you stay there, basically.
I'm curious about this because,
I mean, here's the thing, bro. If anyone's willing to give you some insight, some information, take it. Take it, right? Listen to it. Take the meat, eat all the meat, and leave the bones behind. There are women out there. There are tons of women. I talk to strippers all the time, man, I just want to get their take on certain things. How they see dudes. I want to see, how do they react to certain game? Like, what do they know? How do they know when a guy's telling the truth and when they're not telling the truth? I like to talk to the beautiful women out there because, man, they fall for people's game all the time. Mel said it on the just the other day, on Monday. Mel was telling us how she fell for the game. Some tall dude, some 6'4" dude who was living in her house for free, smashing for free for a while. Then she wanted to get rid of him, and she took her a while to get rid of him. But she said it up front, like, yeah, he love bombed me or whatever. She fell for his game. He told her exactly what she wanted to hear, what she needed to hear to get what he wanted. He got what he wanted. He couldn't maintain it, but he got in there. He got in there, right? And Mel is beautiful. That camera does her no justice. You see her in real life, you're like, oh my God, like little shorty is fine, right? But she fell for his game. So when Mel says stuff, I listen. And I know when she asks me questions, she's listening. She's like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Tell her some stuff, and she's like, really? Like, yeah, this is how it works, baby. This is how it's always been. So there are some women out there who will say some things that just complete nonsense. Like, I ain't listening. I ain't hearing none of that. But every now and then they'll say some stuff like, okay, that makes sense. Right. And then you can also think about it like, well, why are they saying this? Because most of the time when you ask a woman for advice, she's basically telling you what she wants, what she's looking for. That can help you out. And women like her. Like, okay, cool. That can help me out. So I listen to everybody.
along this line of thought, like women have become more well-educated. They're making more money. They're now in the workforce. And this is a good thing. And like you mentioned, as women do make more money, they're not generally maybe looking for a man who makes less. But an aspect of this is that men generally are also looking at this from a traditional perspective where they're like, I want to provide, I want to make the money, and that's all I need to do. But if women are already making money, and money isn't the only thing you can bring to the table now, it seems as if we need to kind of like think about what more we can bring to the table rather than just income.
What, like?
I don't know, emotional stability.
I thought dudes sound crazy when he said this. You sound crazy. And the answer, Chris's answer, I think is brilliant. This is really the part that I wanted to talk about. All the other stuff was just leading up to this. You just can't get around certain things, bro. You just can't get around it. And as a man who's sitting there saying, well, men should be trying to bring more to the table. But there are women out there, women, again, date across and up the spectrum, bro. I'm broke as a joke. I'm fat. I live in my mama's house. I ain't got a job, but I bring my emotional IQ is high, and I bring emotional stability, and you can cry on my shoulder and I can cry on yours. You think that's going to get you in with a dime, especially a boss babe? Man, stop it. Just cut that out. And a lot of people say that, you know, there are some red pillars, really the black pillars, that are anti-woman, you know, anti the game. My thing is this: understand the game, understand women, and understand society. I don't have a problem with women. My problem is dealing with the laws surrounding this world. That's my problem. So you have to be careful. You have to understand this in order to be successful. If you understand these things, then fine. Go ahead and do what you want to do. Women aren't the enemy. If women were the enemy, I would just tell dudes to avoid them. Just stay away from men. Just stay away from women. No, they're not the enemy. We are better together than we are apart. But you need to understand what you're dealing with. You need to be able to see through the bullshit, to stay away from the bad women, because there are some bad actors out there. Find you a good woman, vet her, and go from there. But just understand, even when you do everything correct, it could still blow up in your face. You can still find yourself in the family court system, and there you're going to get wrecked more than likely. So, I mean, it is what it is. Let's continue.
Support also, like support on our side, not just money, but emotional support, more emotional awareness. It seems that like the only thing that the red pill side of things is looking at is you need to be attractive to the most amount of women possible. That means you need to be able to make a certain amount of money so that women look at you in a certain way. But outside of that, there are other things they kind of talk about, but that is the key thing. And if women are already making money, it's like, what else can you do, or what else can you bring? And what I'm trying to get at here is that it just doesn't seem that as we're continuing to get further as a society, men and women, that it's not just that you're a high earner as a man. You need to have more, or you need to be more developed. You need to be more well-rounded versus just being an earner. Because and that's only if, I guess, you choose to be with a woman who's in the workforce. Because what a lot of these men tend to look for too is they're not looking for a woman who's in the workforce. They're looking for a certain type of woman who's going to have to depend on them financially.
Correct.
Right? For example, the woman I'm dating, she's in school. She's going to have a good career. And I appreciate that purpose about her. That's why I'm with her. Like, I like her for that. But that wouldn't be the type of woman that a lot of men in the red pill space would even find remotely attractive. Right? So
That's not true. That's not true. And his perspective is from a successful dude, massive dude, handsome dude, right? He's out here. Hopefully he's gone through women. He's run his rotations in the past. Hopefully he knows how to vet. Hopefully he did all that. And at the end of the day, what did he land on? He landed on a woman who's younger, a woman who's attractive, a woman who's fertile. He didn't run off to get with a 35, 37, 38, 42-year-old woman. This is what I mean about people who have a problem with the red pill message. And it's like, bro, go ahead, take the message. And then once you are armed with this information, do what you want to do with it. This guy sounds to me like he might possibly be setting himself up for failure. Like, bro, who is this woman? Maybe he did vet her properly. Maybe she is a good girl. Or maybe she's using him. You know what I mean? Maybe there's some things that she's looking for that he doesn't possess, because every man in her circle has money. And then all the dudes who have just a little bit of money are in her circles, and all the brokies who will try to get at her. She's highly sought after. She's in that cohort. She's younger, right? She's probably still in her 20s. I guarantee you she's somewhere between 18 and 27. Guarantee it. He says she's still in school. She's probably under 26 years old, because he didn't say grad school. She's probably like 21, 22, maybe 23 years old. Right? So when he hears the messaging from the red pill, this dude, he's probably conflicted. And he says these things like, the red pill guys will never want a woman like that. Why wouldn't they? If she's a good woman, why wouldn't they? Dudes who have money, they want what they want, and they have the ability to get it. Now, is it simply... we talk about this all the time. Money is a qualifier. You know what I mean? Attractiveness, like your physicality, that's a qualifier. Being socially aware, that's a qualifier. Having the accessories and stuff like that, being self-sufficient, all qualifiers. Any one of those things isn't enough to get the kind of woman you want long term. You might be able to smash her, but but you need, I think it was Justin Wilder and the Tates, Andrew and Tristan and all them, when they had that Avengers show on Fresh and Fit. They said it's like having buckets, right? And every bucket should be equally full. You don't want one bucket full, like, oh, I got all the money in the world, but I don't have any social awareness. You know what I mean? That bucket is empty. And So I don't know how to talk to people. You know what I mean? I don't have any style. That bucket is empty. You know what I mean? Like I'm out of shape. That bucket is empty. That one bucket ain't gonna be enough. And it might be able to get you a couple women here and there. Yeah, if you're paying for them, right, one way or the other. But it's not gonna get you everything from that woman. So let's continue. Let's hear the rest of this.
It's an interesting thing, but it's just like, I guess it depends on what you're looking for and the type of woman you want. But if you do choose to date a woman who's making money and who has a career, maybe you might need to have some other things.
I think you do. The ground truth of dating dynamics, and this is where the red pill does get it right. I got to give the guys their due. They misquote a lot of my friends in the studies that they've done, but the basics they get right. Fundamentally, if you're a man who doesn't earn as much as your partner, your relationship is beating the odds if it stays stable. Like, you need to be at least as educated and at least as employed in terms of wealth as your partner. It is very, very difficult to make a relationship work if you're a guy who is not the breadwinner in the household. In relationships where the woman out earns the man, they're 50% more likely to end in divorce. In a household where a woman out earns more than 80% of the household income, it's twice as likely to end in divorce. Women are roughly 3 times as likely as men to say that educational achievement is important to them when choosing a mate. And men that are in relationships where they are not the primary breadwinner are 50% more likely to use erectile dysfunction medication.
Ooh.
The other thing, which I think you're starting to allude to here, is that if a woman is a breadwinner, perhaps she can financially support both partners, and the man could maybe bring something else to the table. Perhaps the man could be a great stay-at-home dad, or perhaps the man would be able to contribute in other ways. He could emotionally support her in the way that we spoke earlier on about how women can emotionally support us. A sad fact for both men and women suggests that as women become more educationally and professionally successful, they show an increased preference for more successful men.
Mm-hmm.
So as women become better breadwinners, they don't reduce their hypergamy, it increases. Not only have they risen up through their own dominance hierarchy, but they've risen up at a greater rate and are now looking for an even higher angle on who it is that they want to date. So if you're a PhD woman that earns, I have a friend in the UK who is 36 and she's just frozen some of her eggs. She is a millionaire, self-made millionaire in the fitness space. She has a PhD. She has like 3 guys that she can date, right? If she wants a guy that can out-earn and out-educate her, the cohort of people, and I think she'd maybe like 5'9" or something.
So I know this is a single person, but is she also looking for like
hard?
So she's looking for somebody who's above her in that.
Well, she's
sense.
looking for anybody, but like fundamentally, her mating preferences are that she's going to try and date a guy who has these resource and educational backgrounds, and it doesn't get.
This is the part of the message that the blue pillars, the Matrix folks, the blue pillars, the mainstream folks, whatever you want to call them. This is the part of the message that they hate. They hate this part of the message. What did he say? He said his friend was what, 30 something, in her 30s, 31, 36, something like that. She's a millionaire, PhD. And she's looking for her superior. There just aren't enough of those dudes out there. What did I say in that one episode? What did Forrest Gump say in the movie when Jenny got frustrated? Sometimes there just aren't enough rocks. This is what I mean by that. Here's a woman in her 30s, self-made, millionaire, PhD. She's done all that stuff. And she can't be happy with a sous chef. She can't be happy with a guy who's middle management, working at a bank, making $100,000 a year. She can't be happy with a dude who's trying to get his own business off the ground, but he's washing cars and working at McDonald's until he gets it off the ground. She can't be happy with none of those dudes. She has to have a guy that's on her level or higher. She's surely what, like a 10% or a 5%er over in UK, definitely a 12%er over here in America. This is the part of the message that they don't like. Oh boy, it's like, well, yeah, since women are making more money, and I'm talking about the black guy, women are making more money, guys can just bring more to the table. Nah, bro, it don't work that way. It don't work that way. Now, if you got a guy, you a dude with some serious game, you know what you doing, You got the accessories, you know what I mean? The cover of your book looks really regal and nice. You can smash this woman. I'm pretty sure she's done had a bunch of sexual partners. You can holler at her, but it's not gonna go the distance. And a true player understands that. If I came across that woman in UK somewhere and hollered at her or whatever, we can have a good time. I'm on vacation. I got my money. You know what I'm saying? She don't know I done scrape together my money for the year or whatever, just so I go over here and blow it all in one week. We can go have dinner at Mr. Child's or Nobu. We can sit down and talk. I'm not gonna lie about my education. I'm just gonna engage in conversation. She's going to assume. You know what I mean? She'll know I don't have a PhD, but she'll assume I have some sort of undergrad, right? That's what she'll assume. Just because I'm well traveled, I'm worldly. I've done some stuff. She's gonna like this. She's gonna like it. It's playful. I'm not from around there. She's gonna be like, all right, she'll let me smash. We'll go back to the flat or go back to the telly, whatever. Have a good time. I might be kicking with her for a week. But guess what? At the end of the day, she ain't trying to be with me. I don't make enough money. I don't have, my status isn't high enough. And she's getting older. She can't compete with her 26-year-old self. Like she couldn't compete with herself in the 20s. This is the part of the message that the blue pillars, the mainstream media folks, they don't like this part of the message. This is coming from the same man who was just trashing the red pill just a little bit. But what did he say? Hey, man, you got to give them credit where credit is due. They get this part right. This part they get right. There's no getting around hypergamy. If you got a super successful woman, she's going to need a uber successful man in order for her to be happy. It is the way it is, bro. We didn't make the rules. Just the messenger, man. I'm just the messenger. It's science, which is hilarious. That's one of the punchlines to one of my jokes. but it's true. I'm just the messenger. Don't hate me. This is science. It's a funny joke. If you ever want to hear it, you got to come to one of my shows. But it is the way it is. Are we saying this is true of all women who are super successful? No, we're not. We're not saying that. I'm not saying that. But the vast majority of women who are successful, they got to have a guy who are at their level or higher. It is what it is. Scam Likely is saying money isn't as important as they say it is unless you are broke or rich. 80 to 90% will take a man $45,000 a year to $200,000 a year if they like him. I mean, that's a real broad statement. I can't, if we're just going on that statement and you're talking about women, you're saying 80 to 90% of women will take a man who makes between $45,000 and $200,000 a year if they like him. Okay, yeah, I can't. That's a very broad statement. But will they marry that guy? Will a woman who's making $300,000 a year marry a guy who's making $35,000, $45,000 a year? Probably not. Are there some exceptions? Yes. And there, you probably got to dig into whatever the situation was, the dynamic between those two people. Maybe they met in college. Maybe they knew each other since the sandbox. Maybe they were high school sweethearts. There are always exceptions. But if you get a boss babe, like, because you say here between $45,000 and $200,000 a year, right? So if you get a boss babe who's making $500,000 a year because she is C-suite at a Fortune 100 corporation, she's making $500,000 a year, including bonuses and stuff like that. And she likes the guy who's making $200,000 a year. I would argue that situation, that relationship will not go the distance. I would argue it wouldn't go the distance. And it might not all be her. Like what did Sister Mel say on Monday? She was with a dude that she liked. He didn't make nearly as much money as she made, but he got into his own head. He couldn't be in a relationship. He couldn't handle the fact that she made more money than he did. He couldn't handle that. So he came up with reasons to get out of the relationship. So it happens on both sides. Could I be with a woman who makes $500,000 a year? It wouldn't bother me one bit. I'm retired. I'm not making nearly as much money as I made before. But even at my peak, I wasn't making $500,000. And a good year with a lot of overtime, maybe $200,000. Right? I would absolutely talk to her. But here's the thing: when you're dealing with a powerful woman, a financially woman, remember we talked about you got to be careful what you say to women, and sometimes they'll use your vulnerable, admissions against you. Well, powerful women, wealthy women, they might use the fact that you're a brokey against you. Sometimes it's covert, sometimes it's overt. She might tell you like, well, I could have talked to Chad big bucks over there. He's making $1.5 million a year, but I gave him up so I could be with you. That's like saying you a brokey. I could do better than you. Once you said you can't take it back. She might sit there and say, won't you get out my house and don't use my car? As a matter of fact, leave my credit cards on the counter. She might say that. And maybe, a few hours later, it's like, I'm sorry, babe. It was just, I'm under so much pressure. I had a meeting with the board today and oh my God, I think they're going to let me go. They're going to want me to resign and da, 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 da. It might be that, whatever. But she said it. Right? It's dudes that have done that. Orange Juice Jones, walking in the rain. Go look it up, you youngins. Orange Juice Jones. Don't touch that coat. Right? It goes both ways. Men are expected to take care of their family. Men are expected to be the breadwinners. Is that changing? Yeah, I think there's a social shift going on. I think that dynamic is starting to change, but it's only going to go so far. You're going to have a slew like that. Like his female friend is making millions of dollars and she's in her 30s. She's going to wind up settling with a guy, but that guy is going to be at least her superior intellectually. He might hold 2 doctorates and he might be a guy who's lecturing and he might be tenured at Cambridge or something like that. It's like, okay, he's not making the money, but he's an author. He's well respected. He has more clout than me. Okay, I can deal with that, even though I out earn him. But he has all these other things. So maybe she'll let that happen. But even that guy is extremely rare. Like, it is what it is. Scam was like, he is off on this, man. I don't know, bro. Most women aren't marriageable, regardless of income. There aren't enough women making $300,000. And of those, some of them married their careers. $300,000 is not free. But yeah, he's talking about an extreme. But women are enrolling in universities in America, in colleges in America at way higher rates than men. I think they're graduating college. It's like 2 women graduate for every dude, and that number is going up. Women are going to be making more money on average than men in America. This trend has already begun. So yeah, we don't have to go to the extreme of saying, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 a year. No, you're gonna have women who are gonna be out here making $150,000 a year, right? The average income in America is right around 65,000, maybe 70,000. That's the median, I should say, the median. That's the last time I looked it up. I don't know if that number has changed. But if the median income for Americans, let's just say 70,000, let's just use 70,000 for this conversation. If that's what the median American is making, and she comes out and she's making more than twice that, right? Who is she going to be able to talk to? We already know 14% of Americans make over $100,000 a year or more. Only 14%. Men, women, gay dudes, married women, everybody. Only 14%. So when you break it down by gender, it's definitely going to be single-digit women making 6 figures or more. There's going to be single-digit men making, when you get into like men, it's probably going to be around single-digit, probably maybe 8 or 9%, maybe. I don't know. I'm sure that number is somewhere. We got to look it up. But it just right off rip. If she's making over $100,000, she's in the top 14 percentile of American earners, right? So like 86% of the she's above 86% of the population. So, and then of course you got to separate the men and women or whatever, but she's looking at maybe 10 or 12% of men that she will find attractive. And all the women going to find those same men attractive, even the ones who are making the average. You got women who are making 45,000, 25,000, 80,000. They're all going to find that same dude attractive. So you see the vicious cycle that has begun. You know what I mean? This is the vicious cycle that has begun.
It gets smaller the more that the women earn. It gets bigger, which is, again, give the red pill guys their due. Like, they understand this dynamic about women, and railing against hypergamy is like railing against the laws of thermodynamics. It just is the way it is. It's the preferences that they have. Mm-hmm. Now, you might say, maybe somehow women would be able to overcome their preference for better resourced, more educated men, because they are now the breadwinners on average. 2 women for every 1 man completing a 4-year US college degree by 2030. Men have dropped out of the US labor force at 0.1% a month every month since 1950, excluding COVID, when it fell through the floor. By 2040, the labor force participation is going to be 65% for men. It was 87% in 2050. 7 times more men dropped out of university during COVID than women. For the first time in history, you have 50.1% of women being childless at 30. More women without children at 30 than with. More women had children over the age of 40 than under the age of 20 in 2019 in the UK. And last year, the ONS survey data from the UK suggested that for the first time ever, 50.1% of children were born outside of marriage or a civil partnership. So they were born to single mothers or to people that were just in relationships. So all of this together is a big, 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 big mix-up. You might say, if women were able to reduce down that hypergamy, which is, what Kevin Samuels was trying to achieve, they might be able to open up their dating pool a little bit more, which would mean they have more mating options. Now, there is some evidence that suggests that they are doing that. However, it is going up precisely in line with female-only infidelity. So women are perhaps prepared to date down a little bit, but they can't get around the thermodynamics of attraction.
Did you see the
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? This is the most red pill thing I've heard in years. There is a social shift, not just here in America. It's going on in UK. It's going on in first world nations all over the globe. And yeah, some women are like, damn, I want a child. Did you hear what he said? It was like in UK, more women over 40 were having kids than women under 20, did he say? Damn. Damn. What does this mean? Women are chasing their careers. They're chasing the bag. They're getting it. Right at the same time that the men that they want are finally getting to their bag. The only problem is they're old. So you're dealing with this guy who might be 36 years old, who has finally got to where he wants to be in his career. He's finally gotten himself together. He's finally achieved those things that the vast majority of women find attractive, right? And also that 36-year-old woman, she did the same thing, college, career, all that, no kid. She sees this dude, and the dude is looking down. She has to look across and up. She has to find a guy that's at her level or better. He doesn't. He looking up, looking across, he's looking down. What is he looking for? Beauty, youth, and beauty. He's ready to have his kids. So he's going to get himself a young girl in her 20s, maybe early 30s, probably, but in her 20s, late 20s, get her, start a relationship, become that giant that she wants to look up to. Shout out to Rich Cooper. Have babies. She's going to be in his frame and do what he needs and support him. That's what he's going to do. He's not going to look at the 36-year-old woman across the aisle who has just as much money as he has, but she has to work just as hard as he does. Right? And it's going to be harder to have babies, and she doesn't want to leave her job. She doesn't want to give up her career. So what does she do? All right, she looks down, finds a guy. All right, he has the genetic markers that I want. All right, we're going to get together, and she has a baby. He just said what those numbers he just said, man. People are having kids out of wedlock. People just having kids, single moms, it is what it is. She gets the baby. Maybe she takes him through the court system. Maybe she doesn't. She makes so much money. She's like, nah, I don't want to do that because the court, at least in America, the court, like in Florida, for instance, now if you go in the family court, it's 50-50 custody. That's the default. And if she's making $300,000 a year, let's just say she's making $120,000 a year, and he's making $70,000 a year. Remember the average. She's going to have to pay him child support, even though it's 50-50 custody. They're going to take money from her. If he wants it, they're going to take money from her so he can have his time and the child doesn't have to suffer in lifestyle stuff, right? And again, that's going to change too, because that's going to be the case across the country. Women are making more. So what did he say? The red pill guys do get that right. They do. I agree with them 100% on this. They get it right. Hypergamy is something. And once the guy does the work, he gets there, he keeps his body right, he does the work, he's socially in tuned, right? He has all the accessories. He, he has the clout. That guy gets to choose. And he's not going to choose. If he's 35 years old, he's not going to choose a 35-year-old woman. He is going to choose a 26, 27-year-old woman or younger. He's going to choose a young, beautiful woman. He doesn't care about her degrees. He doesn't care about how much money she makes. He doesn't care about any of that. All he cares is she's adding value to him. He can take care of her and she can take care of the kids. And he's going to put her in a home and all that. And if dude's really up on his game, maybe he'll tell her, I'm still going to go out here and mess around. If he has enough value, he could tell her, you're probably going to have to share me. And guess what? She'll probably say, okay. Because if she doesn't, there's a legion of women right behind her that he could go ask. He can make the same offer to another woman. Like, it is what it is.
Don't forget thermodynamics of attraction. But did you see that clip from Gabrielle Union? Gabrielle Union, there's something where she talked about cheating on her former husband. And the reason why she mentioned it was okay was, I bring home the money.
Yeah, she didn't feel bad about it.
She didn't feel remotely bad about it because she was the breadwinner. It's an N of one. It's a single person saying this, but it's just interesting that it does fall in line.
Well, dude, think about, again, to give the guys from that side of the internet their due, if a woman really needs her man, it's very difficult for her to not respect him. And I think that respect is something that does need to flow both ways, but a woman really, really needs to respect and admire a man. So the thermodynamics mean that you are, you permanently have to fight against your own nature to find a guy who is less statusful and less educated than you as attractive. Again, this is on average. This isn't to say that women, I have tons and tons and tons of white collar women dating blue collar guys. And, there's other evidence that suggests that earning can actually be offset by the relationship, by the job title that you have. So for a man who is a firefighter to be as attractive as a man that works in hospitality, guy in hospitality earns $300,000 a year. Firefighter only needs to earn $60,000 a year to be equally attractive. So for all of the men that say it's very difficult for me to get a high paying job in order to become attractive to a woman, it's like, you can actually change some things with regards to the type of job that you have. Lawyer as well. Surprisingly, 60 grand a year, lawyer and firefighter are as attractive as someone that works in the hospitality industry but earns $300,000 a year.
I wonder why that is. I never heard that before, and I haven't taken the time to vet it out. I don't think that Brother Chris is lying. I'm sure there's studies. I wonder why that is. I guess a lot of that has to do with perception. A lawyer, that's a lot of clout. I mean, that's a very, very prestigious position, right? Like, hey, I'm an attorney with something. I'm gonna, whatever. And attorneys have growth potential, as opposed to the guy making $300,000 in hospitality. I'm gonna have to give that some more thought. I wonder why that is. Fireman, he's a protector. He's a brave man. He runs into buildings. He's a superhero, making $60,000 a year, which is low end. I mean, most firemen I know, 6 figures is minimum. But those guys tend to be big and strong dudes, and they carry folks out of the burning fire. They run in and all that. So again, I think it's their place in society is really high. So I guess that the fireman making $60,000 is the equivalent to a $300,000, I guess, bookworm or, middle management guy or upper management guy, I guess. I don't know. But I think that's fascinating. And he's about to talk about the increased infidelity from the women's side. Let's listen to this part.
So female-only infidelity seems to be on the rise. And here's where it gets really nasty. Hypergamy decreasing a little bit from women. Female-only infidelity increasing a little bit by women. Also completely in line with domestic violence increasing at the exact same rate. So women perhaps date down. They're struggling to find a mate. They decide to date down a little bit. That woman then begins to stray, or at least starts to pull back a little bit from the relationship. And then men switch from a benefit affording to a cost inflicting mating strategy. And the way that when mate values start to differ a little bit, what happens is the partner that feels like the other one is pulling away from them can start to apply a little bit of pressure. Sometimes that can be through psychological manipulation. Sometimes that can be through vulnerability and opening up and saying, I feel anxious, I feel nervous, I feel whatever. And then other times it can be through physical violence. So you have this little cascade of hypergamy into infidelity, into domestic violence, and all of this seems to be linked. Not good.
I think both sides, it's really beneficial to just work on being a success of some sort through work, through some sort of dedication to going to school, exercise, having a healthy body. You mentioned earlier somebody being able to recover from, something happening fairly quickly within a couple hours, a healthy mindset. At least from my side of things, I've always been driven towards doing, being a doer, somebody that's, working out or just out there trying to get better at stuff. And I think for me, that's what my wife saw in me. I don't think it was necessarily a particular job, but she saw like a particular direction. And I like what you said about like the firefighter, maybe a police officer is almost like too dangerous of a job. Not that firefighting's not, but there's all kinds of crazy shit that can happen in either one of those occupations. But I think from a guy's point of view, I think just that the person is just trying to get better as a person. I think
that's the conscientiousness.
There's a reason they didn't mention fire. They didn't mention police officers with firefighters because police officers are actually the ones that women stay away from. Police officers tend to be more violent. Police officers tend to be more vicious, and they have that thin blue line. They have other cops looking after them, protecting their backs. At least that's historically been the case. It's starting to change a little bit now. I mean, I appreciate law enforcement. I really do. But, police are a necessary evil, and until they get the proper training, the proper pay, until there is proper disciplinary procedures out there for cops, women gonna stay away from them because they're just too. Dudes, ask a cop, he'll tell you in a heartbeat, like, man, I don't like telling women I'm a police officer. As soon as I tell her that, she leaves me. But then you got some women out there who are just like groupies for cops. It's crazy, but this guy threw police officers in there. I don't think police officers are in there the same with the firemen and lawyers and stuff like that to be the attractiveness, but. This is the married guy, and when he's hearing these things, and he knows that this guy, like brother Chris, he knows this is coming from a scientific place. This is not him just in his feelings or whatever. He just does. Well, we should all just be better and make more money, and it's like, cool, make as much money as you want, bro. But if you making less money than the woman you're trying to get, it's going to be a problem. There's no getting around hypergamy. There's no getting around it. And if you're a dude who found himself in the red pill spaces and you're trying to figure out, how can I become seen? I'm tired of being in the, the bottom 80. I'm tired of being invisible. Well, you got to work on yourself. Get your body together. Get your mind right. Get your money up. You got to learn how to be social. You got to learn some game. This is what you got to do to be seen. This is it. Don't worry about how old you are. It's supposed to happen later in life. So it's fine. But this is what you need to do if you want women to see you, so you can choose. Like what Myron and Fresh say on Fresh and Fit all the time. We're telling you guys this stuff. We're showing you guys what to do with your money. We're showing you guys how to level up so you can choose the type of relationship that you're going to be in. Most guys, like the bottom 80 guys are invisible, but they're still getting on, right? You know what I mean? Those guys are at the top of that spectrum. They're managing to fall into a situation, but it's not the situation they want, right? It's the situation that they were able to get. But if you level up, you get yourself right, then you can choose. You get to a position where, like, I don't want to deal with her. Then you can move on. I don't have to deal with her. I don't want to deal with her. Fine, you can move on. Why? Because now you're in the top 20 and all the women are looking at you. You can choose. You can vet. That's the true meaning of the red pill, in my opinion. But when you talk to married guys, and this dude right here in particular, this dude right now, well, just everyone should just do this and it's going to work out just fine. No, it's not, bro. There are winners and losers, my friend. He knows that. He's in the business. He's a winner. There's a winner. In order for you to be a winner, that means there's got to be a bunch of losers out there, bro. So to all the losers out there, if you want to be a winner, you're going to have to work on yourself. You're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to accept the science, bro. Become the guy that women want. If it's your intention to be seen, you have to do the work. Period.
Really attractive, really valuable thing. And they say, to be a success, to attract success, you have to be successful. And it's like, well, how do I be successful before I'm successful? Well, you might be successful just at like really small incremental things that maybe don't seem like that big of a deal right now. Maybe you just read Jordan Peterson's book, but that's a success right there. That's part of it. And maybe you can start to put that into practice.
Think about why any girl sees the starving acoustic guitar player singer who's 24 and sleeps on his friend's couch. Why do a lot of girls look at that as like a romantic, aspirational partner? Well, it's because they see the trajectory of that person. It's not about current success. It's about where you're going to be when she needs you. And if you're going to have kids in 5 or 10 years' time, you go, okay, maybe this guy's not got his shit together, but fucking hell, there is a lot of raw potential.
I think there's something else there too. I think the motherfucker loves his guitar so much. How do I pull him away from that thing? He loves hanging out with his buddies. Like he's just sitting there jamming on his guitar. How do I get his attention? He seems like he doesn't care.
Maybe,
right?
that would be true. I think
playing it cool, like you're not like obsessed over the girl, winking at you or saying hello.
Yes.
It's not playing it cool. It's not acting like you don't care. The rock and roller, the guitar guy doesn't care. And that's why he got groupies and he's broke. Rollo Tomasi was talking about this when Rollo was young. That's what he did. He was a rock and roller. Right? That's what he did. And he had tons of women climbing out of his bedroom window, out of his friends, really crashing on his friend's couch. So the Rollo said the girls would be crawling out the window. So not to be seen doing the walk of shame or whatever. That's the world of the rock and roller. He's not acting like he doesn't care. He doesn't care. People want to know what's the secret to the bad boys. The bad boys don't give a fuck. That's the secret. It's not an act, bro. They really don't. What did I say when I was young and I was running my rotation? I could care less, bro. There was no feelings attached, man. I was just smashing. I could care less. Oh, you got a problem? I had one girl was like, why you never take me out anywhere? How come we never go to the bar or we never go to like a restaurant or whatever? You never take me to the movies. I'm like, cause you fat. You the creep, baby. And that was that. She came over 2 more times and then that was that. I can't be seen in public with you, shorty. Was that mean? Yes. That's where I was back there, man. I ain't care. She shouldn't have asked me that question. Right? Little shorty couldn't believe she couldn't believe it. It's like, baby, she was like, you only call me to come over here and you never come to pick me up and you never take me home and I never get to spend the night and you never take me out anywhere. She knew what time it was. You over here because I'm trying to bust one. So let's talky and more sucky. Yeah, that was bad, but guess what? She was with it. She came over 2 more times after we had that conversation, and she finally stopped when she realized, like, damn, he never really gone. So what did she do? She went after a guy who was probably on her level, and she thought she was dating down. She went after a guy who was on her level, and she got into a relationship so she can get the lovey-dovey stuff that she was looking for. She got it from him. Right? She got the lovey-dovey stuff from him. But I guarantee you one thing. She was still out there smashing G's. I know she was because I saw her out there. I saw her talking to my people. And none of my people would pick her up. None of my people would hold her hand in public and take her out. But I know they was creeping. I know they had her coming through. Like, come on over here and get it. Like I said, she was a chubby girl. She wasn't quite obese. Like I told, what did I say, Mel? She's about 4 or 5 pounds away. You know what I mean? Because she was a little taller. She was 4 or 5 pounds away from being really obese. But guess what? She come over and get it. He come over here and get it. And I ain't gonna lie to you. She didn't feel the same. Like, she was a big girl. You felt the rolls and this and that. It just didn't feel the same. But it was something to do. Like, all right, she came over, get it. All right, you gonna come over here and give me some? All right, give me some. All right, now go on home. Get out. Is that harsh? Yes, it is. It is harsh. She asked me. I didn't volunteer. She asked me that information, so I gave it to you. You know what I mean, brother Scam Likely? I'm I think the she likes you part needs to be emphasized more in these conversations. Possibly. I mean, if you get a woman who's into you, bro, no matter where you are, man, if she's showing you attention, she's into you, you know what I mean? She likes you, you good, bro. You good. But if you don't level up fast enough, you will probably lose her, especially today. You will probably lose her, man. Clout is more important. They want experiences, man. If you can't take her on a cool trip to, you name the country, if you can't take her on that trip, bro, there's plenty of dudes who can, and she knows where they are. Or she could do it on her own. She'll take herself, but she's gonna go with her girls. She's not gonna go with you because you can't afford it. So I think that's important as well. Yes, it's good that she likes you. It's good that she likes you, but you want to be able to keep her.
But the conscientiousness, anybody that can deploy that to something, if the shit hits the fan with regards to your family, you're going to be able to fix that problem as well. And that's why the Matthew principle, which is to those who have everything, more will be given. To those who have nothing, more will be taken. It's from Matthew in the Bible. And it's like, if this person has conscientiousness that they can deploy to the guitar, how do you think they're going to get on if their kid's having a hard time at school? They're going to be able to deploy some attention to that as well. They should be on average. So yeah, it's not just about where you're at. It's not just the success that you're at the moment. It's like, what's the trajectory? Like, what are you broadcasting out into the world? Do you seem positive? Do you seem like you've got a growth mindset? Are you working hard? Because those things can carry you a hell of a, I mean, again, your partner, there is no way that your missus could have predicted where you were going to end up. Not in a million fucking, you couldn't have probably predicted where you were going to end up. And yet it worked.
But I think that's all.
It was a bet. She made a bet and it paid off. There are a lot of women who make bets on guys and it doesn't pay off. And that's why you have the red pill spaces. You have people like Rich Cooper, who loves to say women don't build, they wait at the finish line and they smash the winners, right? Women are waiting at the finish line for a guy who's already done all the work, and that's who they're going to want to be with, as opposed to placing their bet on a guy early on. Now, there's some women out there who place those bets. There's some women out there who place those bets, but I just thought that was good. That portion of the conversation, I will definitely be linking the video in the description below so you guys can check out the whole thing. I have not watched the entire 2 hours and 22 minutes, but and I doubt if I will. I just wanted to hear that part because they were talking about some other stuff that really wasn't. I kind of, I was kind of skipping through it, and the other stuff wasn't really. It didn't really grab me as much as this stuff. Women are beginning to curb their hypergamy a little bit. They are beginning to date down a little bit, but they're also beginning to cheat more. And women are cheating. There might be some women out there who's like, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be smashing you and you and you. I guess the poly stuff, but that's extremely rare. Women are dating down. They are regretting their choices to date down because that's not who they really want. They're doing whatever it is they're doing, but they're still looking out for the guys that they really want, and they're looking out for guys that make them happy. What Rolo calls it, that genuine burning desire. They're still looking for those dudes. And guess what? If they find the guy that they really want, they'll divorce the dude that they're with, hence the high divorce rate here in America, just for an opportunity to maybe be with this guy. Destroy the whole family to be happy. I mean, it is what it is. And people say, well, I'm sure men are doing the same thing. I'm sure they are, but they're not filing for divorce in the same numbers as women. I mean, it is what it is. This is the world we live in now. And all I'm saying is adapt to the game. Adapt to the game. Shout out to brother Chris. You know what I mean? It's Chris Williamson, I think it is. Shout out to him. I definitely follow him. I definitely watch a lot of his content. He has some really good conversations. Really good conversations. I'm trying to get there. Appreciate y'all for checking me out, man. We're 2 hours in. I definitely want to watch the Fresh and Fit Pro show today. They got mystery on there. They probably already started. I wanted to watch the whole thing live, but maybe I can catch some of it now. Appreciate y'all rocking out with me. Brother Scam, good to see you always, man. And everyone else who was here. D-Mac was in here. Brother Pitney, of course. Brother Dino. Good to see you guys. Thank y'all so much for coming through, always supporting, man. Thursday the 14th. Remember, we have a very beautiful young woman who is a behavioral therapist. We're going to talk about that. Hope to see you out there. And who knows if I can, I'm out here hustling, man. If I come across a couple more dimes, everyone I come across, I invite to do the podcast. I'm definitely going to be hitting up Mel and her crew and probably get a couple of her friends to jump on here. And I got a friend, Nandi. I think she'll do it. She works with us on Tuesdays at our show. She's very cool. Yeah, I think I could get her to jump on. That'll be a good conversation, man. I'm gonna shoot for that. Maybe Monday or Tuesday. Maybe not Tuesday. Maybe Monday or Wednesday. We can get her on. I think you guys will enjoy that. So that's it. That's all I got, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Brother Dino, man, appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much, man. That's to you. Thank you as well, bro. And we'll be back tomorrow, man. Not quite sure what we're gonna talk about tomorrow. Probably something in the finance space because I missed that show that I was supposed to do on Tuesday. George Gammon broke down some really good stuff on Fresh and Fit just the other day. We might break it. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about George Gammon and some of the other guys in the financial space and what they say that we should expect here moving forward here in America. You know what I mean? Winter ain't coming anymore, man. Winter is here. I think we are here. So I'll see y'all tomorrow right here, 6 p.m. I'm DL Saint. This is the DL Saint I Really Want to Know podcast. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.